Hello all, welcome to Paritranaya IAS editorial analysis session. In this video, we shall discuss about the editorial articles of The Hindu which have been published on July 1, 2023. So the various articles that we will be discussing are Misadventure, the governor's move is dangerous, unconstitutional. So these two articles, they discuss about the same thing. So that's why we have clubbed together and we will be discussing under one head. Next, all hands on deck. A new chapter in India-Africa ties can be written. And finally, sacred hymns, political games. So let us begin with the first article. So the first article is in the context of Tamil Nadu and the developments that have taken place in Tamil Nadu. So what is the background of this article? So the background of this first article, that is Tamil Nadu governor's move, misadventure, dangerous and unconstitutional. So in Tamil Nadu, governor of Tamil Nadu has dismissed a minister. So the question here is whether governor has the power to dismiss the minister, to dismiss the minister. So in this context, the article has appeared. So what does our constitution say? Our constitution says that chief minister has to be appointed by governor. Similarly, ministers, they have to be appointed by governor. But whether governor has the choice to appoint any person as a minister? No. So governor has to appoint a person who have been recommended by chief minister. It means only the people who have been recommended by chief minister can be appointed as ministers by governor. So here the thing is clear. Chief minister will be appointed by governor. Similarly, ministers will be appointed by governor based on the recommendation of chief minister. Now when it comes to removal of what is chief minister and all the detailed discussions we have done in polity. So you can watch that video to get a detailed idea. But here, can a governor remove a minister without chief minister's recommendation? So this is the question. So here in Tamil Nadu, governor has removed a minister without CM's recommendation. So in this context, we need to know about the various powers enjoyed by governor. So whether removal of minister is a discretionary power of governor. If it was a discretionary power, then governor can remove any minister at any time when he feels that he should be removed. Okay. But here we have to look into few of the background. So here we come across an act called, in this article we come across an act called as Government of India Act 1935. So before our constitution was enacted in 1950, or when we became republic in 1950 and when we got our constitution, so before that there were many acts. So in the evolution of the constitution, in the static part, we have discussed about all these things. But here directly we shall go to Government of India Act 1935. So what is Government of India Act 1935? What kind of power does it give to governor? So Government of India Act 1935, it gives absolute power to governor. It means he can appoint chief minister and ministers, and also he can remove them. So it is completely discretionary. Government of India Act 1935. But when we adopted constitution, so majority of the provisions we have taken from Government of India Act 1935. Majority of the provisions we have retained from Government of India Act 1935, but not all. And among them, one such provisions which we have not retained is governor will not act independently. So when it comes to removal of ministers, always governor has to act according to the recommendations of chief minister. So this is the background. So in this context, few of the articles have appeared. Article number 153, article number 163 and 164 have appeared, and this is the background. Okay, this is the background. In the same article, we come across a term called as due process of law. So whenever such terms do appear in the newspaper, so rather than just memorizing, we also need to understand what exactly is that due process of law. So we have made a separate video on the same, so you can please refer that video to understand what is due process of law. So with this background, if we read this article, then we will be able to connect the dots. Similarly, here we have a doctrine called as pleasure doctrine. So what is this pleasure doctrine? Pleasure doctrine says that a minister stays in office as long as he enjoys the pleasure of the governor. So this is a statement which is present in our constitution. A minister stays in office as long as he enjoys the pleasure of the governor. It means as long as governor is happy, the minister can enjoy the ministerial position. But here when we say pleasure, so this pleasure doctrine also we have taken from Government of India Act 1935. So in our constitution we have this principle called as pleasure principle or pleasure doctrine. But here also when we say pleasure of governor, then it does not mean only pleasure of governor. It means chief minister. Okay, so whatever the chief minister says, according to that governor has to act, because in our constitutional setup who is most powerful? Chief minister. So governor is a nominal head. Okay, nominal head. So based on this background, when we read this article, we will understand many of these things. So here already governor has said that he has removed a minister, but later on again he has withdrawn. He has said that he wants to consult, he wants to take the opinion of Attorney General of India. So whenever we come across a term Attorney General of India, so we need to know about this. So whether Attorney General of India is a constitutional post or non-constitutional post. If it is a constitutional post, then what are the various powers enjoyed by Attorney General of India? So Attorney General of India is government's highest lawyer. Okay. So now governor first he issued a statement and later on he took back that order and said that he wants to seek the opinion of the Attorney General of India. Okay. Attorney General of India. So in the same article, so a term due process of law has appeared. So you can understand the same through our other videos, static videos. Next, fair investigation. So a term fair investigation has appeared. So here, why the governor wants to remove the minister? Because there are allegations of corruption against the minister. And if whenever there are allegations of corruption and when you start investigating, then ministerial position is a very powerful position. So they may probably interfere in the investigation. That's why in order to ensure fair investigation, I have removed the minister. Is the defense stand taken by governor. Okay. So all these things you have to know. Next, breakdown of constitutional machinery. So again, it is very much important for us to understand this. What is the breakdown of constitutional machinery? Again, you can refer our video related to emergency. So in that topic, we have discussed about breakdown of constitutional machinery. So what is breakdown of constitutional machinery? What kind of situations qualify to be called as breakdown of constitutional machinery? So here, so in his defense, and as well as those who are criticizing the move, so they say that such kind of move can act as breakdown of constitutional machinery. So here we also come across a term called as federal system. So this federal system is in jeopardy. Okay, so there is a threat to federal system. So in federal system, we know that there are two types of government, one at the central government, another at the state, and the functionalities between them has been divided according to the 7th schedule of the constitution. So one has to work on his own domain. Center will work on list 1 of 7th schedule and state will work on list 2 of 7th schedule. But here, because of the governor's move, it has become a threat to the federal system is what the writer wants to highlight here. Similarly, in this context, article number 164 of the constitution has appeared. So it just says that chief minister is appointed by the governor without any advice from anyone. Okay, so these things you can refer in the static part. Okay, and here in this context, we also come across the statement made by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. So these points can be used to quote in our mains answers in order to enrich it. So Dr. B.R. Ambedkar had stated unambiguously in the Constituent Assembly that there is no executive function which a governor can perform independently under the Constitution. So he says that under the Constitution, governor's position is not powerful enough. So whatever the act he is performing, he has to act according to the directions given by the chief minister or council of ministers. He cannot act independently. Okay. So similarly, as we discussed, pleasure principle. Okay, so this principle we have borrowed from Government of India Act 1935. So again, in this context, various Supreme Court judgments, Supreme Court judgments which have reiterated the same, that governor's position is not independent. So in the mains answers, we can quote this: Shamsher Singh and ANR versus State of Punjab, Nabam Rebia. So these cases can be quoted. And generally in prelims, they do not ask about such kind of cases, but in order to enrich our answers, we can definitely quote these cases in our mains answers. Next, we have one more article called as all hands on deck. So article is not at all important. There is not even a single point which is worthy of either prelims or mains. So completely it can be ignored. So ignore this article. Next, a new chapter in India-Africa ties can be written. So very important. So this article consists of information which is going to be beneficial from both prelims as well as mains point of view. Okay, mains point of view. So here, some of the important points. Africa continent accounting for nearly 17% of the world's population. So Africa accounts for close to 17% of the world's population. So it's a global, India's rise as a global player is inevitably linked to the kind of partnership it enjoys with Africa. So it means as India is emerging as a global power, but in order to reach that goal faster, it is very much important for us to have a good relationship with Africa. So this is what the writer wants to highlight. So in this context, some Africa expert group, a 20-member expert group has prepared a report, and in that report, few of the suggestions have been mentioned, and these suggestions will be helpful from mains point of view. Okay, from mains point of view. But from prelims point of view, look here, we need to focus on certain areas. So what are those areas? In this article, there are few nations which have been affected by some insurgency or terrorism related activities. So which are those countries? So if you look here, Ethiopia, Sudan, and Central African Republic. So these countries, they have been repeatedly facing problems of insurgency, ethnic violence, and terrorism. So in prelims, often they do frame a question on such kind of topics. So which among the following countries have recently faced insurgency, ethnic violence, and all? So if at all they pose such kind of question, then we should be able to answer this. Next, sharpening competition among at least half a dozen external partners such as China, Russia, United States, European Union, Japan, Turkey, and the United Arab Emirates for strengthening their relationship with parts of Africa to ensure market access, gain energy and mineral security, and increase political and economic influence. So these countries are trying to establish good relationship with Africa. Which are they? It may be China, it may be Russia, or it may be USA, or it may be Japan, or it may be Turkey, or United Arab Emirates. So why do they want to establish good relationship with Africa? Because Africa is rich in minerals. So if you have a good relationship with Africa, then you will get sufficient amount of minerals. So energy security. So what is the energy? So oil and all. So world is completely dependent on oil. So and Africa hosts tremendous resources of oil and other energy. So that is why we want to have a good relationship with all of them. They want to have a good relationship with Africa. Okay. Next, when it comes to economic partner, so who is the biggest partner of Africa? So very important, it's China. So relative to China, what is India's position? Where exactly we stand? Whether it is when it comes to economic partnership, India is better than China, or China is ahead than India. So these things we need to understand. From this we understand that China is ahead than India when it comes to economic partnership with Africa. Next. So they may frame a question like this. So roadmap 2030. So generally it appears in the newspaper in the context of which two countries? So it is in the context of India and Africa. Next, a very important point, India-Africa Forum Summit. So a question on India-Africa Forum Summit has already been asked early in 2016 or 17. So here they have mentioned that this Forum Summit was last held in 2015. So here you have to add some extra information. What is that extra information? When did the India-Africa Forum Summit start? So when was the first summit held? Where was the second summit held? And the summit which was held here, whether it is first summit, second summit, or third summit. So we have to explore for more information and add the same. So and they will be beneficial for us during the examination. Okay. So questions to appear on such kind of summits. Next, a new annual strategic. So these are all the suggestions. So suggestions are not important from prelims point of view, but from mains point of view, yes, we can add suggestions. Next, we have G20. So they have mentioned about G20. So whenever an organization appears, so first thing that we need to know is, and already a question has appeared in 2020, who among the following are the members of G20? So the first question that we have to ask is whether India is a member of G20. Yes, India is a member of G20. Whether African Union is a member of G20? No. Whether any of the African countries are members of G20? So these are the various questions that we have to ask to ourselves and find the answers and include in our notes. Okay. So if at all you are not aware, then you can refer our video which we have prepared with respect to G20. So there you will find complete data. Okay. Next, here we come across few terms. So that is maritime cooperation. So what is maritime cooperation? So ocean related collaboration, we call it as maritime collaboration. Next, we come across a term called as lines of credit. So to boost defense exports. So now sometimes we want to export our items, but the country which wants to import from us, it does not have sufficient money. In that case, what we will do, first we will give them money in the form of a credit, and using that money they'll purchase from India. So these things are called as lines of credit. So we want to export our defense related items, but some of the African countries who are interested to import them, they do not have money for a time being, and for time being we'll give them credit. So these are called as lines of credit. Okay, lines of credit. Next year, India-Africa trade. So what is the present trade of India and Africa? So somewhere it is close to $98 billion. So UPSC often it does not focus on such kind of values and all, but at least approximate figure we need to have. Okay, and we need to have store the information by comparison. But whether India-African trade is more or Africa-China trade is more, or Africa-USA trade is more. In that sense, we have to store the what information or find extra information. Next, here we come across what some of the suggestions. Setting up of a National Center for African Studies. So these suggestions, they can be beneficial from mains point of view, but they have very least importance from prelims point of view. Next. So finally, it's about what sacred hymns, political games. So this is about the development that has taken place in Punjab. Okay, that has taken place in Punjab. So let us understand its background. So we have Golden Temple in Amritsar. So Golden Temple is present in Amritsar. So from Golden Temple every day, so Gurbani Kirtan is played. Okay, so melodious Gurbani Kirtan is played. So it is a what religious Kirtan which will be what broadcasted. It will be broadcasted. Now when it comes to broadcasting, one channel has a right over broadcasting the Gurbani Kirtan from Golden Temple. So now recently government has brought some changes. What is it change? So Punjab government has amended this act, which is that act Sikh Gurudwaras Act 1925. And after amending the Punjab, what kind of amendment it has brought? It has said that now not only a single channel, but all the other channels, all the other news channels or the other TV channels, they should freely broadcast Gurbani Kirtan. Okay. And in this context, the article has appeared. So few of them are in favor of the decision taken by the government, and few of them are against. So in this context, we shall understand the various things. So here we come across an important committee. So it is called as Shiromani Gurudwara Prabandhak Committee. So it is an apex body, the top governing body of all Sikh Gurudwaras. So Gurudwaras are the holy places of Sikhs. So the governing body of all the Gurudwaras, Sikh Gurudwaras in India as well as abroad is Shiromani Gurudwara Prabandhak Committee. So why this committee has appeared in this context? Because government has amended this act. Without seeking any permission from SGPC. Without seeking any permission or approval from SGPC. So here Shiromani Gurudwara's Gurudwara Prabandhak Committee. So generally, what 2/3 members of this committee should give the approval to bring any kind of changes to it. But here, without seeking their approval itself, they have made changes to the act. So it has been highlighted. Here in this context, we need to understand SGPC. So how are the members of SGPC elected? So the detailed information they are given here. So who conducts the election? Who conducts the election for SGPC? So central government conducts the election. And whenever we want to bring any kind of changes to this act, at least 2/3 members of SGPC should give the approval. Okay, approval. And SGPC it maintains the Gurudwaras in India as well as abroad. Okay, India as well as abroad. So these are the things which we need to understand. And in this context, we come across Akal Takht. So here Akal Takht is a what? The highest Sikh temporal seat. So where it is located? It is located in Golden Temple. Okay, Golden Temple. So here elections for the SGPC are held by central government. Okay, central government. Here we come across a principle of Miri Piri. So generally UPSC focuses on such kind of terms. It may pose a question like this: the term Miri Piri which appears in the newspaper, or the term Miri Piri is associated with which religion? In order to confuse us, they may give other religion. For example, it is associated with Buddhism, Jainism and all. But here we need to have that clarity that it's a term which is associated with, this is a principle which is associated with Sikhs. Okay, with Sikhs. So based on the background, So I'll urge you to read this article once. So definitely you'll be able to connect the dots. Okay, connect the dots. So once it is done, then I'll urge you to what? Use these practice questions. So there are two questions from mains point of view and the other questions from prelims point of view. So you can answer these questions through our comment box. So the first question is, India's rise as a global player is inevitably linked to the kind of partnership it enjoys with Africa. Comment. Okay. So this is a 10 marks question. Similarly, governor's role in India's federal system has remained controversial in recent times. So again, this is a 10 marks question. 10 marks question. So you can answer these questions through our comment box, or you can even practice on your own as well. Next, we have these prelims practice questions. So these prelims practice questions, if you want to answer in a test mode, then we have shared a link in the description box. You can click on that description on that link to attend these questions in test mode. Otherwise, if you want to comment the answers, you can comment the answers through comment box as well. So the first question is, Chief Minister is appointed by governor, whereas other ministers are appointed by chief minister. You have to indicate your answer as either true or false. Under Indian Constitution, governor does not have a discretionary power in dismissing a minister. Attorney General of India is a constitutional body. Government of India Act 1935 had absolute discretion to choose a minister and dismiss him. Pleasure doctrine in the Indian Constitution has been borrowed from Government of India Act 1919. India is the biggest economic partner of Africa. First India-Africa Forum Summit was held in 2015. European Union is a member of G20, but African Union is not. Lines of credit is generally provided to facilitate exports. The term Roadmap 2030 appears in the newspaper in the context of relations between China and Africa. Ethiopia and Sudan are part of Horn of Africa. Harminder Sahib Gurudwara is located in the state of Himachal Pradesh. Next. Sikh Gurudwaras Act 1925 was enacted for the administration of all Sikh Gurudwaras in Punjab, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh and Chandigarh. Rights to broadcast the Gurbani Kirtans are granted by Punjab government. Shiromani Gurudwara Prabandhak Committee is the apex governing body of all the Sikh Gurudwaras in India and abroad. Before making any amendment to the Sikh Gurudwaras Act, the approval of 3/4 of the members of the Shiromani Gurudwara Prabandhak Committee is required. Akhal Takht is located in Golden Temple, Amritsar. The responsibility of conducting elections for the Shiromani Gurudwara Prabandhak Committee lies with the central government. The principle of Miri Piri is associated with Jainism. So these are the various practice questions from prelims point of view. So in this video, we discussed about the editorial articles of July 1. Similarly, in the subsequent videos, we will be discussing about the other important topics related to UPSC. For all our further updates, subscribe to our channel and hit on the bell icon. Thank you.